course, Friday means field trip day. Day 4 of Lindsay Clancy's trial wrapped up on Friday. It was another half day. It's a great day for a great day. My name is Sydney Rushing. I'm a criminal defense attorney in the state of Michigan. Now let's talk about it. The attorneys and the jury loaded up on a bus. They went past the businesses that were relevant to that day, the restaurant and also the CVS, and then they went to the home. And at the home, they went in groups of 6 and they got to walk through the house, which if you ask me is a little bit weird because of course this house is no longer set up the way it was when the Clancys were there or the day of the scene, but they got to go see the house nevertheless. They were at the home for approximately 40 minutes. Can you imagine being that home's new owner and like having to let this happen? And you know, there's all this paparazzi outside your house. They were blocked off. They couldn't go in, but still like having to be like the center of attention for something that does not involve you, but now your house is forever that house. And before you ask, no, Lindsay Clancy did not attend that day, and she actually hasn't seen that house since the day of the incident. Once they returned from their scene tour, witness number 14, Mark Anthony Maffio, who is a Duxbury police sergeant, was called to the stand. He was specifically called to the hospital where Lindsay Clancy was taken. He discussed the condition that Lindsay was in at the time, including her wounds. He said that she was like not responsive when he was with her, and his assigned job was to sit there with her and to watch her and to make sure that she doesn't leave. After the hospital scene was contained and secured, he wrapped up there and went to the house. The defense attorney then started questioning him about her injuries and showing pictures of those injuries. At one point, the prosecutor even objected, but the pictures got to come in through this witness. He confirmed that those photos did reflect her condition at the time he saw her. He confirmed he saw bloodstains inside the house and outside the house. And to show that, the jury was also shown those pictures. The defense did try asking him questions regarding the pill bottles that were seized by the state police, and he couldn't answer those questions because he said he did not witness it. He said that the medical staff was not actively treating Lindsay Clancy's wounds when he was with her. He also described his duties at the home, and he basically said it was a chaotic scene or crazy scene. So he really just kind of focused on the spot that he was designated to be at. And then on recross examination, the defense attorney had him basically agree that he could move around the house, even though he did have like a spot that he was supposed to focus on. And then he was thanked and excused. Then witness number 15, Richard Lippard, and that is just quite the mouthful of a name, was called to the stand. And he's a patrolman with Duxbury Police Department. He was the one who took over watching Clancy at the hospital when Maffio left, and he basically said that she was not responsive during the time that he was in there. He testified that nobody spoke with Clancy while she was at the South Shore Hospital. He did accompany Clancy on a med flight to another hospital where she was gonna be treated, and he stayed with her for approximately 15 to 16 hours. He recalled Clancy having a medical code during the middle of the night. During cross-examination, we basically got confirmation of the same answers that he gave on direct examination. He said that he didn't recall any like troopers coming to watch her, be with her, anything like that, but it's possible that like the hospital security could have also been there with him. He said the room was crazy and that the code that was called was code blue, which means that she was dying. When he left, he was relieved by 2 other Duxbury police officers. And with that, Lippard was thanked and excused from the stand. And witness number 16, Dr. Mark Tenerowitz, was called to the stand. On the day of the incident, he was an emergency physician at the hospital. He treated Dawson Clancy specifically. He said when Dawson arrived, he had been told that he had been wrangled and that he did not have a pulse. He recalled seeing broken blood vessels in his face. They worked on Dawson for about 40 minutes with someone helping him breathe, like, doing the breaths. And then he said his heart was never in a condition where they could do an electric shock. He was declared unalive at 7:28 p.m. The defense crossed him basically on one of his statements about Dawson having bruises on his legs prior, but they were older bruises. And that was pretty much it. And then the doctor was released from the stand. Witness number 17 was Dr. Benjamin Kaufman, and he was the doctor that treated Callan. And one thing to note, while this is all very heavy, during this also it was visible that Lindsay was crying. He said that Callan wasn't breathing, but they did regain a pulse about 10 minutes after he arrived to the hospital. But he says that during the entire time that he was with Callan, that it wasn't evident that he had any brain functioning. He also said basically the entire time that they were on the phone with Boston's Children's Hospital because they are more equipped to handle a case like Callan's, and Callan was eventually flown there. There was no cross-examination by the defense, so he was thanked and excused. Then witness number 18, Melissa Arcadapane, was called to the stand. She was basically the supervisor of the hospital's lab specimen department. She provided some background information about how the lab works and that she no longer actually is employed at that hospital. Her testimony was pretty short, but basically what she did is that she handed over the specimens from Clancy to the police. He was thanked and excused from the stand. And with that, the judge let the jury go early on Friday because he said that they're on schedule, if not ahead of schedule. So with that, the jury gets to go home for the weekend, and then they'll come back on Monday for day 5 of the trial. Thank you for being here and thank you for following along. Here's the question of the day. Between yesterday and today, do you think that the jury, even though they were only half days, heard so much testimony that it may have been either confusing for them or too hard for them or emotionally tough on them, and that maybe they should have split it up a little bit more or been given more times between witnesses? Let me know in the comments.